These are the articles that we'll be seeing today. Forest fires in Uttarakhand. The context of this article is that the fire that broke out in the forest near Nainital district headquarters took a horrific form, posing a threat to the residents of nearby houses. Alright? And for prelims, you need to know some basics about what devices are used to put down fire. Alright, and the reasons behind forest fires. Now, with the fire reaching the vicinity of Indian Air Force Station near Nanda Range, the Indian Air Force deployed Mi-17V5 helicopter to douse the flames using Bambi bucket. Now, what is this Bambi bucket? Bambi bucket is a specialized aerial firefighting tool which has been used since 1980s. Okay, it is essentially a lightweight collapsible container that releases water from underneath the helicopter to targeted area. If you've seen a helicopter, okay, in an image or anything, see, suppose if this is the helicopter, there will be a bucket, okay, and it'll be like a funnel, all right, and that is called as Bambi bucket, and the water would flow down like this and it'll target the fire areas. Alright, the water is released by using a pilot control valve, and Bambi bucket is used in more than 115 countries around the world by more than 1,000 helicopter operators. Okay, and what is the difference between this Bambi bucket and the old type of water buckets that were generally used? The old buckets were made up of solid fiberglass, plastic or canvas with metal frames. Alright, and they were too rigid to fit inside the aircraft, whereas the Bambi bucket does not have these limitations and it can be stored within the helicopter until the requirement is there. Okay, and this Bambi bucket was invented by a Canadian businessman in the year 1982. Alright, and since then, all over the world, people have been using this. Now, coming to forest fires and the reasons behind them. You should understand that there's something called forest fire triangle, or not forest fire triangle, fire triangle, okay. One corner of it is the fuel overload, the other one is availability of oxygen, and the other one is dryness, which will affect the temperature. Alright, so these three form the fire triangle. And if these three are there, then there is scope for fire to sustain. Alright. In India, there are 4 forest fire clusters. What are those? Northwestern Himalayan region, then you have Northeast, then the central part, and Western and Eastern Ghats. Alright, now what are the reasons? First of all, you have forests in these regions, right? So obviously they will be prone to forest fires, but with different reasons. When you come to this area, the forest fires in this area are caused due to preponderance of pine trees and accumulation of thick flammable matter. Okay, in summer what happens, there's a large quantity of pine needles that gather on the forest floor, which is highly susceptible to fire. Alright, and in this region they are also very proximate to the villages. The regions are very near to the villages, and in addition to these pine trees, the villages also contribute to anthropogenic activities that actually can pave way to forest fires. Alright, in Northeast, there is practice of slash and burn, so that can be a reason. Alright, and decline in precipitation levels, change in land use patterns, all these are reasons for forest fires. Now, forest fires can be of many types. One is the surface fire. Surface fire, matlab, see, here there is ground and here there is litter, that is the leaves that have fallen and all. Fire can start from here, that is called as surface fire. Then you have ground fire and then crown fire. Crown fire is on top of the trees. Alright, so this will start burning. See, crown fire is clear, surface fire is clear. Now, what is ground fire? Ground fire occurs below material such as leaves and peat, and these fires are slow moving, but when left unattended, can take out large areas. Okay, so these are some basic. Consider the following statements with respect to Bambi bucket system. The Bambi bucket is a proven helicopter-borne integrated firefighting system. Yes, this is true. We have just seen. It is a specialized aerial firefighting tool which was developed in 2003 by DRDO. No. It was invented by a Canadian businessman in 1982, and since then it has been used widely across the globe. Alright, so this is wrong. Which of the above statements is correct? Only first statement is right. A is the answer. Now, with reference to the New York Declaration on Forests, which of the following statements is correct? Now, you have to understand some basics about this New York Declaration on Forests. It is a voluntary, non-binding political declaration which grew out of dialogue among governments, companies, and civil society. Okay, it was spurred by the United Nations Secretary General's Climate Summit that was held in New York in the year 2014. Okay, now what is the declaration about? It is about forests and restoration. Okay, so the declaration has pledged to halve the rate of deforestation and forest loss by 2020 and to end the natural forest loss, LOSS, not LAWS. NAWS, it is LOSS. Okay, forest loss should be ended by 2030. It should be halved by 2020 and it should become zero by 2030. Okay, and it also aims to restore hundreds of millions of acres of degraded land. Okay, and India, is it a signatory to New York Declaration on Forests? No, it is not a signatory. Why didn't India join? According to the spokesperson, he said that the declaration interlinks trade and climate change and forest issues. Okay, trade falls under WTO and it should not be brought under climate change declaration. And it seems the spokesperson, and on behalf of India, he asked the word trade to be removed, but they did not agree. So we have not signed the declaration. All right. So these are some basics. Now, it was first endorsed at the United Nations Climate Summit 2014. Yes, this is right. It endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forests. Yes, the timeline is this. Okay, so this is also right. It is a legally binding international declaration. It is not, because it is voluntary and non-binding. It is endorsed by governments, big companies, and indigenous communities. This is also right. Taking everybody together. India was one of the signatories at its inception. No, till today India is not a signatory. Okay, so 1, 2 and 4. Here we are not eliminating options because we need to have absolute knowledge with respect to MCQs because of the changing pattern. Release of disaster relief funds to Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. These two states, they moved to Supreme Court complaining that center is not releasing funds. Okay, so now center released funds of rupees 3,730 crore towards relief assistance for natural calamity under NDRF. Okay, so Karnataka and Tamil Nadu moved to the Supreme Court seeking relief funds for calamities such as cyclone Michong, floods and drought in 2023. All right. Now, for prelims, what is important? The definition of disaster. Now, the definition of disaster is there in Disaster Management Act of 2005, and it is defined as any significant event, whether natural or man-made, causing substantial loss of life, human suffering, property damage, or environmental degradation beyond community's capacity to cope. Okay, so that is disaster. Okay, and there are two funds. One is the State Disaster Relief Fund and the National Disaster Relief Fund. Okay, now when you look at this NDRF, actually National Calamity Contingency Fund was renamed as National Disaster Response Fund. Okay, and it is defined under Section 46 of the Disaster Management Act, and it is managed by the central government to meet the expenses for emergency response, relief, and rehabilitation. And this supplements the SDRF in case of disaster of severe nature. Now come to this SDRF. SDRF, you have to be very careful because In state PSCs also they can ask the function of SDRF. Okay, not that they will not ask NDRF, but just saying state specific things, be very, very vigilant. SDRF is under section 48(1)(a) of the Disaster Management Act, and it was constituted based on the recommendation of the 13th Finance Commission. This fund is primarily available with state governments for responses to notified disasters to meet expenditure for immediate relief. Okay, immediate relief. This you have to fix in your brain. Okay, because NDRF, this fund is used for response, relief, and rehabilitation, right? But whereas SDRF is for immediate relief. Okay, and this SDRF is audited by CAG every year, that is Comptroller and Auditor General of India. And how is the contribution made to SDRF? See, Center contributes 75% of the SDRF allocation for general category states, and Center contributes 90% for special category states and union territories. Northeastern states, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and Jammu Kashmir. Okay, now there is a concept called local disasters. Now, what is this local disaster? I'll just tell you. But before that, why am I telling about local disasters? It's because 10% of this SDRF funds are available for providing immediate relief to the victims of natural disasters. For providing immediate relief to the victims of natural disasters. What disasters are they referring to? The disasters which are considered to be local within the context of the state, and such disasters are not included in the notified list of disasters of Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, such disasters are called local disasters. Okay, and 10% of SDRF fund can be spent on giving immediate relief to these local disasters. All right. Consider the following statements with regards to State Disaster Response Fund. The State Disaster Response Fund was constituted under the Disaster Management Act of 2005. This is true under Section 48, Clause 1, Subclause A. Okay, next. SDRF can be used for disaster prevention measures and development of infrastructure post-disaster. No, because SDRF is intended to provide immediate relief. Alright, so this is wrong. A state government may use up to 50% of the funds available under SDRF for providing providing relief under local natural disasters. See, it's not 50%, it is 10%. You have just seen, right? Local disasters are those disasters which are not notified in the list of Ministry of Home Affairs, and they are local in the context of state. Okay, so this is wrong. Which of the above statements is correct? First statement is correct. One only. Now, regarding money bill, which of the following statements is not correct? A bill shall be deemed to be money bill if it contains only provisions relating to imposition, abolition, remission, alteration, and regulation of any tax. This is true. Right. We all know this is the basics part. A money bill has provisions for the custody of the Consolidated Fund of India or the Contingency Fund of India. This is also true. Now, a money bill is concerned with the appropriation of money out of the Contingency Fund of India. This is false because appropriation of money out of Consolidated Fund of India. Alright, so this is wrong. So they have asked not correct. So C is the answer. New insurance rules for senior citizens. What is the context? The context is that the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, has issued regulations for this. Okay. The new regulations say that the age limit of 65 years for individuals purchasing health insurance policies in order to broaden the market and promote adequate protection against healthcare expenses will be in place. Okay? And they came into force. This is what IRDAI said in a previous statement, and they came into force on April 1st. Alright? This is one change. Age limit, and IRDAI has also reduced the waiting period for new policyholders from 48 months to 36 months. Okay, which means this is one thing. And You should also understand that all the pre-existing health conditions will be covered after 36 months, whether the policyholder has disclosed the disease at the time of taking the policy or not. Okay, until now, the insurance companies not just cancel claims on non-disclosure, but also cancel the entire policy. Now, the moratorium period has been reduced from 8 years to 6 years. Now, what is this moratorium period? It is the duration after which the insurer cannot deny the claim provided if it is not a fraudulent claim. Okay, so these are the changes, and we'll see some basics about IRDAI. As I mentioned, the full form of this one is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. It is an autonomous and statutory body. And what is it responsible for? It is responsible for managing and regulating insurance and reinsurance industry in India. And it is a 10-member body. It has a chairman, 5 full-time members. So 5 plus 1, 6. Now 4 are left. 4 will be part-time members. Okay. It was, as I mentioned, it is a statutory body. So it was constituted under an Act of Parliament in the year 1999. And where is its headquarters? It is in Hyderabad. Alright. Now, consider the following statements with regards to Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. IRDAI is autonomous and constitutional body. See, it is autonomous and statutory body. Okay. So this is wrong. You should understand that constitutional body, unconstitutional body, and extra constitutional bodies. Okay. So what is the opposite of constitutional body? You would generally say unconstitutional body. If it is unconstitutional, that agency wouldn't be present at all. You should understand that there are extra constitutional bodies. Okay. So this is not, if it is not constitutional, it doesn't mean it is unconstitutional. Extra constitutional bodies are also there in place. Okay. So this you have to understand. Now, IRDAI has removed the age limit of 65 years for purchasing health insurance policies. This is right. That's why it is in news, right? So which among the above statements are correct? Only second statement is right. Now, in India, which of the following reviews the independent regulators in sectors like telecommunications, insurance, electricity, etc.? Ad hoc committees set up by the Parliament. This is correct. Why? Because Parliament can establish ad hoc committees which may examine the working of regulators. For instance, the terms of reference of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Allocation of 2G Spectrum include the review policy on spectrum pricing and grant of telecom licenses. Right? There were ad hoc committees in the scrutiny of the working of SEBI. Okay? With respect to the stock market scam and all. Alright, so ad hoc committees is correct. Now, parliamentary department related standing committees. Yes, departmental related standing committees is also right because these committees are ministry specific and may review the working of regulators within their respective departments. Alright, so this is also right. Now, Finance Commission, what is the function of Finance Commission? It will suggest about fiscal federalism. Okay, so it cannot review this regulatory bodies. So this is wrong. Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission. No, these are just there to tell about financial legislation. Okay, and not regulators in India. Now, Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is a advisory body, right? They do not review the functioning of any regulator. So this is wrong. Select the correct answer. 1 and 2. A is the answer. When is a candidate elected unopposed? This is very important. What is the context? The context is that the BJP's Mukesh Dalal was elected unopposed from Surat Lok Sabha constituency without polling being held. ऐसा भी होता है क्या इंडिया में or in any other democracy? Yes, if there are candidates less than the number of seats who are willing to contest, then he or she or that person, that candidate is set to be elected unopposed without the actual election process happening. Okay, so in Surat Lok Sabha constituency, now the voters will not go and cast their vote. Why? Because there is only one candidate who has submitted his candidature. Okay, submitted his form for candidature. All right, so there is no point in in actually conducting elections there. Okay, now we'll see some basics. Now, who is a unopposed elected unopposed candidate? We've just seen. Now we will see what is a uncontested election. Okay, an uncontested election is when a candidate is declared the winner without a single vote being cast. Okay, and the Election Commission of India, in its handbook for returning officers, spells out how an uncontested election works. It says that if in any constituency there is only one contesting candidate, okay, declare that candidate to have been duly elected immediately after the last hour for withdrawal of candidature. In that event, a polling is not necessary. All right. And when will only one person contest? Either only one person is interested to contest from that Lok Sabha constituency, or when all other contesting candidates either drop out of the race or their candidacy or their candidacy should be rejected. All right. Now, since independence, this has happened on more than 24 occasions. In 1951, during the very first general elections, 5 candidates were elected unopposed. Okay. Few of them are T. Ramalinga Chettiar of Indian National Congress, T. Sangana from Odisha's Rayagada, the INC's Anand Chand from Bilaspur, Major General. Okay, like that. And 1957 saw a maximum of 7 candidates who won general elections uncontested. And this was the highest in one election. In a single election, this is the highest number. Okay. And 1951 saw 5 such candidates. 1967 also saw such 5 candidates. Okay. And in bypolls, Dimple Yadav won unopposed from the Kannauj Lok Sabha seat in the year 2012. Overall bypolls or statistics, if you see, at least 9 people have won unopposed. And this is about statistics and the definition part. Now, Section 53, Clause 3 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951 deals with the procedure in uncontested elections. All right. Now, we should understand one thing, that none of the above, nota option, is not considered as a valid vote. As in, when you count number of votes, you will count the number of valid votes, right? Valid votes, and only these votes will be counted for final winner. All right. Now, if a person is casting nota, it will not come under valid votes for a candidate. All right. This you have to remember. And there was 49O. There was 49O section under the Election Commission election rules, conduct of election rules, and in 2013 Supreme Court actually struck down. What is this 49O? It actually described the procedure to be followed when a valid voter decides not to cast his vote and decides to record this fact. Okay, the rule was declared by the Supreme Court in September 2013 to be incompatible with the Constitution, and Election Commission of India announced that the option under this rule would not be available anymore. Now, why did this rule come into picture? Election Commission thought that the apparent purpose for this section was to maintain a proper record in order to prevent the election fraud or misuse of votes. Alright, so these are some basics. Consider the following statements. An uncontested election is when a candidate is declared the winner without a single vote being cast. Yes, this is correct. That is what we've just seen. Okay, now there is no law that deals with the procedure in uncontested elections. This is wrong because Section 53, Clause 3 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951 deals with the procedure in uncontested elections. Alright, so this is wrong. If the number of candidates is less than the number of seats to be filled, the election commissioner shall declare all such candidates to be elected. It is not election commissioner, it is the returning officer. So this is also wrong. Since independence, there is no instance of candidate when in uncontested election in India. This is false because right from the first elections are post-independence in 1951, 5 candidates were there. Okay, so it continued. So this statement is wrong. Which among the above statements is incorrect? It is 2, 3 and 4. C is the answer. Now consider the following statements. In India, there is no law restricting the candidates from contesting in one Lok Sabha election from 3 constituencies. There is no law. What are they asking? Which of the above statements are correct? See, this is wrong because the 1951 Representation of Peoples Act was amended in 1996, and the amendment restricted the number of seats one candidate could contest in one election to 2 constituencies. Okay, so this is wrong. Now, in 1991 Lok Sabha elections, Sri Devi Lal contested from 3 Lok Sabha constituencies. This is right. 1991 is the year here. The amendment happened in 1996. Okay, so this is right. As per the existing rules, if a candidate contests in one Lok Sabha election from many constituencies, his or her party should bear the cost of by-elections to the constituencies vacated by him or her in the event of him or her winning in all constituencies. This is wrong. Why will the party bear the cost? In every case, it is the Election Commission of India, right? So this is wrong. Which of the statements given above is correct? A is wrong. Next, B is correct, right? 2 only. Yeah, 3 is wrong. So B is the answer. Oldest remnants of Earth's early magnetic field in Greenland. Okay, so geologists at MIT and Oxford University have found ancient rocks in Greenland that bear the oldest remnants of Earth's early magnetic field. Okay, so actually, scientists found these rocks to be about 3.7 billion years old. Alright, and the strength of the magnetic field to be at least 15 microtesla. This was comparable to the strength of Earth's magnetic field. The fact that it's similar to the strength as today's field implies whatever is driving Earth's magnetic field has not changed massively. Okay, so because the strength is same. Okay, so it has not changed massively over billion years. Now, the team explained that iron particles in these rocks effectively act as tiny magnets that can detect and record Earth's magnetic field. Okay, the rocks were uncovered from Isua supracrustal belt in Greenland. This is important. Isua supracrustal belt, where is it? It is in Greenland. Previously estimated to be at least 3.5 billion years old, the lifetime of the planet's magnetic field may now be extended by how much? 200 million years. That's why this difference. It is 3.5 billion, it is 3.7 billion. So 200 million years. Alright. Now, what are the causes of Earth's magnetic field? Earth's magnetic field is generated by what is known as geodynamo process. For a planet to generate its own magnetic field by geodynamo process, it must have some characteristics. Now, what are those? The planet must rotate fast enough. The interior must have a fluid medium. Alright, and the interior fluid must have the ability to conduct electricity, and the core must have an internal source of energy that propels convection currents in the liquid interior. And all these conditions are satisfied by Earth, right? So that's why we will say that there is a geodynamo process that's happening and Earth's magnetic field is generated by it. Recently, geodynamo process was in news with respect to which of the following concepts? Big Bang theory, no. Earth's magnetic field, yes. Consider the following statements. The Earth's magnetic field has reversed every 100,000 years. This is true because scientists have estimated that one. Okay, so over the last 20 million years, magnetic north and south have flipped roughly every 2 lakh to 3 lakh years. Alright, now when the Earth was created more than 4,000 million years ago, there was 54% oxygen and no carbon dioxide. See, the earliest secondary atmosphere contained carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, carbon. Okay, so carbon dioxide is present. So this is wrong. Now, when living organisms originated, they modified the early atmosphere of the Earth. So 1 and 3. Both the statements are right. Which of the statements given above is correct? C is the answer. Indian-Oman trade deal. India and Oman have annual trade of around $13 billion. Okay. And why are we interested in this deal? Because India and Oman will sign a trade deal in the coming months and expand its ties with the Middle East, where there are rising tensions and putting major shipping routes at risk. Alright, now India has agreed to reduce duties on some petrochemicals, aluminium and copper from Oman while capping imports of such goods. And what did Oman say? Oman has agreed to eliminate duties on Indian exports worth an annual $3 billion, including agricultural products, gems, jewelries, medical devices, engineering products, and textiles. Now, why is it important? It's important because this is a Gulf nation and it is a gateway to the narrow Strait of Hormuz between Oman and Iran. Strait of Hormuz. Okay. And it is what? A major transit point for global oil shipments. And this planned deal will also give a competitive edge. Competitive edge, why? Because Gulf Cooperation Council is negotiating trade agreements with Pakistan and China, so it'll give us an edge. Okay, and Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza has spread to hostilities with Iran. Alright, so these are important points. Which of the following countries are part of Middle East? Iran, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman. See, Middle East is a geopolitical region encompassing the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, the Levant, Turkey. This is not there. The Levant, Turkey, Egypt, Iran, Iraq. Okay, the countries which are very important for prelims. This region is very important for prelims. The countries included are also very important. Okay, so you have Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Lebanon, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, UAE and Yemen. Alright, so please go through the straits present there. Strait of Hormuz is between Oman and Iran. Alright, so these are important points. Now, which of the following countries are part of Middle East? Iran is there, yes. Kuwait is there, yes. Lebanon and Oman, all four of them. Which among the following are correct? All of the above. Now, which of the following is not a member of Gulf Cooperation Council? This Gulf Cooperation Council is a union of 6 countries in the Gulf region, namely Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain. Okay, the council is the largest trading bloc of India, but now it is tying up with Pakistan and China. Alright. When was this established? 1981. Why? To promote economic security, cultural and social cooperation between the members, and it holds a summit every year to discuss cooperation and regional affairs. Alright, so if you see, Iran is not a part.
This is it for today. All the best.